If Uganda can, why can't Delhi? States like Karnataka, Maharashtra reopening schools, experts and doctors now seem to suggest that it is time that kids return to schools, return to school learning, classroom learning. But concerned parents across the national capital, over 1,600 of them have written a petition, have been spearheading a campaign. They met the Deputy Chief Minister, the Education Minister, Mr. Manish Sisodia, demanding and proposing that schools be reopened in Delhi now with a dip in COVID cases. I am actually joined by parents and their children here to understand and listen into their voices, to ask them how these curfews and these curbs have impacted not just them as a parent but the child themselves. We are at a park over here and we are trying to maintain some social distancing. We've got our masks on, but that aside, is it time that schools reopen in Delhi despite so much pressure being put by parents across the national capital? Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining all of us. We've all gathered here to understand this very important issue. Ma'am, if you could introduce yourself. You have a child here who goes to nursery class. How have these curfews and school closure impacted you as a parent?
Well, initially, I understand it was to keep a precautionary check on the child's health. But now, after 650 days, it's just a frustrating kind of imposition on us, where the children are yearning to get back. The world over, the children are back in schools. But here we are, just waiting for some miraculous vaccine to, give them some sort of confirmed safety, which God knows when that is going to happen. And the priority to education is just not there. You open travel and bars and restaurants, but you just ignore these little children.
We'll try and speak to you. I want to ask you, what do you miss the most about school? What do you miss? Do you miss going to school? Yes? And what do you miss? Your friends? Do you miss your friends?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a little Dhwani here, who misses going to her school, misses her friends, but naturally another parent here from Gurgaon, part of the national capital. Tell us, sir, how has this impacted you as a parent?
I think the worst part of this has been seeing kids trying to cope up with this. I think it's tough to see them kind of deal with an online education model. I mean, she went to school for 2 years and then she was in grade 1 when school shut. We have a younger son as well. He's also kind of we've been growing largely at home. I think for them to cope up with this model when they don't meet their friends, for them to get irritated at times, and at points in time when condos actually get locked, you can't step down as well. So I think in that period when schools are not there, there is actually no escape for parents and the kids as well from what they're trying to actually learn.
So feeling too restrictive all the time, lot of restrictions in place, not just what the Delhi government or official restrictions are, but also in terms of within your society, from the school, you have so many restrictions at place at various levels. That has really impacted. That has affected.
I would put it this way that there are some restrictions we'll need to keep and live with because this COVID will stay. But schools not operating in this period, when the world goes back, after restriction the world starts. Offices start, malls start, people are out clubbing. But schools are not starting. So while parents get out, everyone else in the house is actually stepping out. Parents are still stuck, kids are still stuck at home. So I think my core point is that whenever the world opens, offices open, school should also open. And whenever we go back shut, everyone goes into that mode.
It has to be together. What is your name and what do you miss the most about school?
My name is Kaina Gilani and I miss most about school, sitting with my friends, eating together, chatting.
Okay, and what is your favorite subject?
My favorite subject is math.
Your maths? Maths is your favorite subject? A subject that most of us don't like actually. But okay, you've been doing online classes. What is it that you like about it or you don't like about it? I'm sure there's something.
I like about it that I can go to the washroom whenever I want.
Okay, you can go to the washroom whenever you want. That's a very smart answer. Ma'am, you have two children here. What class are they in? And of course, I know that children have missed classrooms. They've missed social interaction a lot. But this has also affected their emotional well-being.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, it's been 2 years of absolute shutdown of schools. And everything has opened and kids have just been at home. You know, I don't know what is the reason now for us to step back. We need to move on
and get school started. If schools can start in all other countries, I'm sure we can start here as well.
Right.
It's actually impacted the kids a lot because schools are not just about reading and writing, there's so much more that the kids learn when they go to school.
Right.
Peer-to-peer interaction, everything else, all the other activities, everything has stopped for them.
Why don't you tell me, what do you miss and what do you like? What would you want to do when you go back to school? Do you want schools to reopen?
Yes.
Yes?
I would want to do everything when we go back to school.
Everything. What is the topmost thing that you will do?
Go and play in the playground.
You'll go and play in the playground. All right. Tell me, what do you like about online classes? Do
Nothing.
you like nothing about online classes? Okay, that's an honest answer, brutally honest. Experts and doctors seem to suggest that it is time kids return to the classroom learning. It is time that they go back to schools because they are at the least risk, especially the younger ones. We know that vaccination has started for 15 and above years of age for teenagers, but for those who are below 15, do you feel that schools will still continue to remain shut for them because only 15 and above are now getting vaccinated?
Absolutely not. I think world over there are enough theories that have proven that vaccination is really not affecting children as such. And so my kids are in nursery and class 1.
Right.
She's never been to a school ever. She's not even seen the classroom what it looks like.
Yeah.
And it's just so sad. And sitting at home, they've got COVID. We've all got it. From where? From going.
Both of them?
Both of them, the entire family.
Oh
I think
God.
most of us have got it.
Oh God.
So if they are, I think they're safer in the school where proper protocols are going to be followed. And the good part is we're getting so much of support from the media and the doctors and schools.
Right.
But it's so sad that we have to make an effort. All across the world, it's a smooth transition.
Yeah.
But over here, we are all coming out fighting. We are fighting for our rights. So that's incorrect.
Bars have reopened, restaurants and every other activity has reopened, but schools haven't. What was your first thought when you heard this, when you saw this?
I think it's very, very disappointing, and there seems to be a misnomer that in some way online school is even a acceptable substitute to proper school. I think online school maybe covers just the academic part of it, and even that not in a appropriate manner. Maybe just 5% of what a real school needs to do for kids is what online school manages to achieve. So I have 2 kids. They are much older than the other parents here. They are 13 and 15, class 8 and 10.
Right.
And for them,
So one of them is vaccinated.
One of them is
It's partially
vaccinated.
But the younger one
But the younger one isn't. But as she said, I mean, most of us have already got COVID.
Right.
We've recovered. Thankfully, now that it's been established that this strain is at least mild, I think we just need to calibrate ourselves very quickly. So right now, hopefully in the next week or so, there will be a window where the wave would have subsided. We should open schools immediately and not this hybrid model, 1 day a week, 2 day a week. School needs to open fully.
And for
I think
everyone.
the focus, for everyone, for the junior classes, senior classes, and the focus need not be academics. Frankly, academics is something which, kids can study the geography, history, it's fine. But I think it's the sports, it's the other activities, the interaction between the teachers and the kids with each other, inter-school competition. I mean, these are things which really make what is education and what a school experience should really provide.
Right.
And I think that's really missing.
Right.
And at least both my kids have really suffered that. I think the academics part, frankly, they managed well.
Right.
But all this other stuff is something which they will lose, and I don't think they will ever manage to get back in their life.
Sure. Thank you. Those were some of the parents across Delhi. We've of course lined up a few of them to understand, get a perspective. The Deputy Chief Minister himself agreed when he met a group of parents, a delegation of those parents who went with a letter, over 1,600 parents signing that petition demanding that schools be reopened in the capital. He himself said that yes, schools must reopen now because if it doesn't, then an entire generation will be left behind if they do not return to their classrooms. The question now is the politics of this pandemic really now crippling down to these innocent children who are losing out on their childhood at a time when COVID cases have dipped and at a time when every other activity has been reopened in the country. In Delhi with Sushil Rathi, Shonakshi Chakravarty for NDTV.